we're not going to be too complex in terms of some of the schematics. I think the most important thing is to see who can play football, to see how well people communicate in an effort to do so and work collectively together. And so, we won't be too smart in terms of some of the things that we do. We'll be more fundamental in base. I think that's a good place to begin.
Coach Tomlin meeting with the media before today's practice, the last one before the Hall of Fame game, Steelers and Cowboys on Thursday. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Training Camp Live, presented by FedEx, where Now Meets Next. I'm Missi Matthews, joined as always by Craig Wolfley and Wolf. They are out in pads here on the field, as I said, final practice before some game action. This is exciting that we are getting to this process where it will not just be Steelers versus Steelers anymore.
Exactly, Missy. This is like dress rehearsal before that big 6th grade play, which, by the way, I was a tree in. It really wasn't a good speaking part. But I will say this. This is all about coming out and playing some football. I love when Mike says that. I don't know if you like vanilla ice cream, but you're going to get a load of vanilla Thursday night because they really want to see, can you play ball? Can you play ball? And it's not about schematics. It's basically the defensive guys know what the offense is going to do to a large degree. The offensive guys know what the defensive guys are going to do. It's about just putting it on there and seeing who comes out on top, last man standing sort of thing.
All right, and we do have a roster move to tell you about. Yesterday, Coach Tomlin said Benny Snell Jr. is being looked at, did not know the severity of his injury, but just today prior to practice, the Steelers have signed running back Tony Brooks James, who was with the Steelers in 2019. To make room on the roster, the Steelers have released linebacker Jarvis Miller, so we will see if there is an update at some point, probably after the Hall of Fame game. So just a quick roster move to announce. We do want to bring in now Mike Prisuta, who is standing by on the Ford Fan Zone. And Triv, yesterday you were calling for goal line. You got it to end practice. Take us through what you thought about that and also what coach and players said about it as well.
I think it was just the culmination of a day in which Mike Tomlin was pretty happy with the way his offensive line responded. Maybe Tomlin pays more attention to what's being said and written and broadcast about his team than he lets on, because I've heard a lot of discouraging words about the offensive line. I may have uttered a couple, and they showed up better yesterday. They were reinforced to a degree. Trey Turner back and B.J. Finney back after having missed practice on Saturday. J.C. Hassenauer back for the first time since everybody came over here to Heinz Field, and even 4 or 5 plays out of Zach Banner in 11-on-11. That might not sound like much, but this is the guy who is projected to be their starting right tackle. Baby steps, but significant steps, I think, for Banner. In terms of the actual goal line drill, maybe it was a coincidence, maybe it wasn't, but when Najee Harris ran the ball out of a personnel group that included fullback Derek Watt, he scored. When he ran the ball out of a personnel group that did not include fullback Derek Watt, he got planted by Robert Spillane for about a 3-yard loss.
All right, let's talk about Derek Watt. That is also somebody we heard from after practice yesterday. Specifically, what is he envisioning his role in a Matt Canada offense?
He's still trying to take a wait-and-see approach, Missy. He really didn't have a role last year. I think it was 52 offensive snaps, 5%. He was not available all the time in training camp. He got off to a bad start. It was a goofy year to begin with for guys who were changing teams because of the lack of OTAs and mini camps and things of that nature. It just never really materialized for Derek Watt. He only played 12 games. He was hardly involved in the offense at all. But yesterday, he showed up on the receiving end of a long play-action pass from Ben Roethlisberger, and that kind of reminded everybody, Tomlin in particular, that, hey, Derek Watt's a guy who, when he was with the Chargers, he would catch the ball once in a while. I think his career average out there was over 15 yards a reception, so it's not something he can't do. Mike Tomlin had this to say, and I quote, "We intend potentially to use that position more." Now, potentially doesn't really commit them to anything, but Derek Watt did remind us that he played in college, and the coaching staff played at Wisconsin in college, and the coaching staff included Eddie Faulkner and Matt Canada. And during his tenure with the Chargers, the coaching staff included Alfredo Roberts, who then was the running backs coach for the Chargers. Now he's the tight ends coach for the Steelers. So Derek Watt at least thinks there's more familiarity with his game on the part of the offensive staff, and maybe that'll mean more opportunity, Missy.
Yeah, is there anything else you take away from yesterday's practice or anything you're looking forward to today, the last one before the Hall of Fame game, and they are once again in pads?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the low-hanging fruit. Mike Tomlin kind of setting the table for Thursday night in Canton. He talked to the media right around noon today, and he said that quarterback DWAYNE Haskins is going to finish the first half, and Josh Dobbs is going to finish the game. The reason being they hope they get some 2-minute opportunity against the Cowboys. Mason Rudolph's going to start. Tomlin said they're going to do the 2-minute today to get both of those guys ready. I like a good 2-minute drill, Missy. I like it well enough that I chart them, and I can tell you that so far in camp we've seen Mason Rudolph move the offense down the field, but then throw the ball short of the goal line and have the clock run out on him. Remember, that was the drive that annoyed Mike Tomlin. We've seen Ben Roethlisberger zip, 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 44 yards, no sweat, touchdown. And we've seen DWAYNE Haskins direct a 52-yard touchdown drive that ended on a 30-yard TD to Rico Bussey. We've also seen Haskins execute a 62-yard drive for a touchdown, 20-yard pass to Anthony McFarland. But that second one gets an asterisk because he would have been sacked if they were playing live. So I'm going to have it at Rudolph 0 for 1, Haskins 1 for 2, Roethlisberger 1 for 1. Let's see what happens in 2-minute today.
Yeah, and I think that nobody is probably surprised by Coach Tomlin saying that Mason would start the game. We're going to see Haskins and Dobbs would finish it out. He did also say that there are some veterans, specifically he mentioned Ben Roethlisberger, Cam Hayward, and Joe Hayden, who will not be playing. Anybody else off the top of your head that you would not play on Thursday in the first preseason game, or really preseason game 0?
Well, I mean, just based on the lack of involvement out here, it doesn't look like Stephon Tuitt's going to practice again today. It doesn't look like TJ Watt's going to practice today. It doesn't look like Eric Ebron is going to practice today. Chukwuma Okorafor and Kevin Dotson are in pads, but we've seen that. We have not seen them get in 11 on 11 yet. So I think the offensive line is going to look pretty much as it has, and probably the same for the defense. The recognizable guys I think you'll see infrequently, if at all. But it was interesting that Mike Tomlin talked about wanting to get Najee Harris involved in all 4 of the Steelers' preseason games. He did not commit to the extent that Najee Harris is going to play, but they're not putting the kid from Alabama in bubble wrap, Missy.
All right, what are you looking most forward to on Thursday night?
The 2-minute drill stuff intrigues me, and I'm also kind of interested. Mike Tomlin talked a lot about the young players getting exposure to it for the first time today. He even talked about being able to get the units on and off the field, the punt team and so forth. You can't take that stuff for granted in a preseason game, particularly in a first preseason game. But by far the comment that Tomlin made today that got the most attention, for me at least, he talked about the ability to keep your head when others around you are losing theirs. Specifically, Tomlin said he's looking for who can maintain the above the neck element of play and who goes native. I think you want to do the first, but not the second.
All right, thanks, Triv. We were just taking a live look down on the field. Mason Rudolph warming up. Does not look like Ben Roethlisberger is practicing today. Triv, will catch up with you when the Steelers return to practice.
Thanks, guys. Maybe we'll see you in Canton.
Sounds good. All right, that was Mike Prisuta, and as we said, Thursday, a big game. Coach Tomlin put it best, not just because they're playing in it, but also for the organization and what it means to have 5 people going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We want to know what you guys are looking forward to on Thursday in terms of the game, some live action to watch, so tweet us and let us know what do you want to see in the game, what will you be keeping an eye out for, and let's see if we have any in yet, and if we can kind of comment. And also, I do want to, the O-line, it's like they know, they're just teeing you up. All right, what do you want to see from whoever is going to be playing O-line on Thursday night?
You know, that's a great question, because really who is going to be playing the O-line as far as just coming out and getting it done? Look, all I'm looking for is some scrappy guys. I want to see, and by that I'm talking about guys that block to the whistle. There are offensive linemen who are what we used to call two-steppers, some 1.5 steppers. They'd block about 1.5 steps, 2 steps, and then they come to a halt. I want to see guys that go to the echo of the whistle. Maybe the echo of the whistle the next valley over. Just a little bit, close to that edge, because you want to see who really wants to play, who's about this game. This game, for some, you know, they might think it's, well, if you're a veteran and you're going to end up playing some, it's not all that. It's important to guys like Joe Haeg, because Joe Haeg is right now, as you see him on your screen, he's one of these guys that has to come out and show that he's capable of being that swing tackle. All right, if you're Kevin Dotson, you know, you haven't been out here at all. Trey Turner, you can see they're commiserating, they're talking together about how you handle double teams, and Chooks Okorafor is getting a lesson on it. And, you know, they're simply just exchanging information. But it's about the offensive line coming off and seeing who's a really scrappy, want-to-finish type guy. And right now, my eyes are right on this guy, because 5'3" is a guy that I'm excited to see compete. I think that it's a great opportunity for him to come out and make a statement about who he is, and I look forward to him continuing on this journey that he's on right now.
All right, again, make sure you tweet us. Let us know who and what you are looking forward to on Thursday night. Of course, a lot of Hall of Fame questions were asked this week to both players and coaches, because it is so special to the Steelers organization. Yesterday, MINKAH Fitzpatrick was asked about Troy Polamalu and Donnie Shell, two future Hall of Famers.
Yeah, you know, they're both great players. They're going to the Hall of Fame for a reason. You know, they're two guys that, you know, I don't really remember too much of Donnie, but I remember, you know, watching Troy play all the time, and you know, he's a guy that, you know, everybody wanted to be like growing up. So it's definitely awesome for them, and it's definitely inspiring, you know, to me.
All right, and Wolf, we heard Prisuta allude to the fact Coach Tomlin did say Najee Harris will be playing in all 4 preseason games starting with this Thursday, would not say the workload that he will be getting. I think that is something that's fair to say. It could change from game to game and whatever the team needs at that moment. Let's listen to more from Coach Tomlin to explain that.
Really, there's nothing to juggle. He's a rookie. Man, he needs the process of game preparation and then ultimately play. We got 4 opportunities for him to do that. We're gonna make sure that he participates in all 4 of those processes. We'll determine how much he plays, but the preparation process, the process of readying yourself to play, is something that I believe all those young guys need, regardless of their potential roles for us once the regular season starts. I just want to get them into as many stadiums and watch them prepare and watch them establish routines that make them comfortable, that maximize their ability in a game-like setting.
All right, and there is number 22, Najee Harris, warming up here at Heinz Field. Steelers' final practice. They get a kind of a break tomorrow before traveling to Canton for Thursday night's game against the Dallas Cowboys. And Najee does some handstands, some different things during warm-up, so maybe that's part of the warm-up routine. That's probably what you did too, right, Wolf?
Oh, yeah. You know, I did cartwheels, you know.
Gymnastics is your strong suit?
Well, yeah, no, okay, let's face it. I'd be closer to having a cookie down on the sidelines than I would doing a handstand. But you know what I love about this guy, and what I just heard Mike Tomlin talk about? He talked about the importance of the game preparation, the process of going through the process of preparing for the game. And it is so big, because as a professional, it's about making sure that you maximize not just your week and the rehab things you have to do with your body, but you got to mentally get ready. And you got to mentally get ready because the game is a little more difficult, moves a little bit faster, and creates more opportunities at sometimes inopportune moments for you to be able to excel or not excel, as the case would have it. Look, the thing about it is preparing yourself to go out there and lay it on the line. And that's something that takes a little while to do. Normally, people aren't given and gifted with the notion of ramming yourself into other people is a normal way of life to go about. For these people here, this is about the process of preparing to do some extraordinary things on a big stage.
And I think, too, also just the part of game prep, how the team travels, team meal rooms, different things like that. When you go to the stadium, there's a number of different buses you can get on. Do you want to go early? Do you want to go get late? Do you want to go late? That's the different thing. And Coach said it's not just Najee, it's all of the rookies getting used to how the team operates. And those are the little things that guys last year did not get to experience until week 1 when you're taking a plane to New York and you're facing the Giants, and that's the first time you get to figure it out.
Missi, you know, you're exactly correct. It's all about making sure you're comfortable with the logistics of getting to the stadium or the hotel, as the case may be. And it's about being comfortable in your preparation, making sure that you're not rushing. You don't want to be rushed. You want to be able to go into the game and see it unfold before you, first mentally as you go through your mental gymnastics and all the things. But for me, I remember going into our first preseason game was really about, you got no air conditioning, you got horsehair stuffed mattress, you had burnt food, and the first thing was, by golly, you go in the hotel room and you turn that AC down all the way so it's freezing. You got a great mattress and you lay on it and you call room service, and that was big back then. You got the TV. It's all good stuff. But it's that process of building up to the game and preparing yourself to lay it on the line. It's a big thing, and a lot of people don't really understand what you go through prior to kickoff the last 48 hours.
Arnell, specifically with Najee Harris, knowing that the Steelers do have an extra preseason game, obviously the Cowboys do too, compared to the rest of the league, how would you handle him in terms of the reps and the workload this preseason, Wolf?
It's going to be based on what I see. The other day, Mike Tomlin referenced Derek Watt and what a fullback will do as far as getting reps based on his touches and his expanding role. It's going to be a little bit like that with Najee. If you see something good, explosive early on, I'm going to pull him out. If you see the offensive line is having some struggles and Najee's got to survive just getting back to the line of scrimmage, it's going to create some other conditions that I'm going to watch out and be careful of. But if you can get a few first downs, he gets in there and kind of looks comfortable, and he's not putting the ball on the ground or dropping the ball or doing other things that indicate that he's not real comfortable out there, then I'm going to leave him out there for a longer period of time to be able to get his feet wet. It's all about making sure that he's comfortable in his assignments and what he's doing, and that he's able to give a full effort on, as it were, be able to get the job done out there.
Another Bama guy, MINKAH Fitzpatrick, was talking about Najee Harris yesterday as well, just saying the rookie is coming along, doing the right things on and off the field. And MINKAH also spoke about leadership, something that we've heard from TJ Watt, and maybe stepping up in terms of the defense. Here's more from MINKAH Fitzpatrick yesterday on becoming more of a vocal leader.
This offseason, he expressed to me he wanted me to be more vocal, not just on the field, but in the locker room and in the weight room and also on the field. So just trying to take to that challenge.
Are people responding to your leadership?
I think so, yes sir.
With that vocal aspect, does that happen, when you lose a guy like Vince Williams, or you lose some of the other voices, you kind of take it upon yourself to step up and be more vocal? Is that kind of where that comes from?
I think it just comes from, I'm older, and I'm not old, but I'm older now, I'm in year 4, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's time to start, sharing my experience and sharing my wisdom, because I have a lot of experience. I've been starting since the very first day I walked into the league. So, I think I could part a lot of my wisdom on younger guys and even older guys,
Does that kind of come with confidence too?
Yeah, I think so. I'm very confident in what I do, very confident in my abilities. I prepare really well. I think I handle myself like a professional. And I think guys, see that, and they kind of, it's kind of been demanded almost of me. A lot of young guys are coming to me and asking me questions and picking my brain. So, I had the responsibility to, talk to them and fill them in and take them under my wing.
And it's not just his teammates, Wolf. There was a podcast with Peter Schrager of NFL Network and Sean McVay. Coach Tomlin joined them, and they asked him specifically about MINKAH Fitzpatrick. And Coach said that he spends more time picking MINKAH's brain and trying to understand what he sees and why he does what he does than pretty much any player he's been around, because he is just that special, and just the way that he can see things and play with that edge.
It's interesting how Mike Tomlin goes about his business is very reflective of the way Chuck Noll was back too in the day. And that was part and parcel. He wanted to know, that is, Chuck needed to know not just what you did, but what you saw that caused you to react as you did. Now, from an offensive lineman, you're going to get one response, and probably a little refractive and a little congealed in there. From MINKAH, it's probably going to be more along a thesis like you get in college, because he does have that perspective of seeing the back end, and he's able to communicate in very excellent terms with Mike Tomlin, who also understands defenses intimately. So the two of them together really create a nice scenario where Mike can really draw on what MINKAH's seeing, and then be able to make some calls or adjustments, or have some thoughts concerning how to improve things better, because of the fact that MINKAH is able to communicate so excellently what he's seeing in front of him. And that's a rare gift. you know, coaches don't just arbitrarily go to players and say, hey, let me see what you're thinking. You know, it's about, you know, that you've got to find a studious guy that really thinks about what he's seeing and is able to communicate that.
We had the fortune of having MINKAH join us live on our wrap-up show yesterday, and I asked him about the extra work he puts in. You know, you see him a lot of times, he's out first, he's working with wide receivers, he catches on the jugs machine, but he also likes to work with the quarterbacks during special teams. And when I asked him about that, he said, you know, I just want to hear how quarterbacks talk and see also what they're thinking. I'm not trying to cheat in terms of, you know, practice, but he said just to be around them and to gain knowledge from them. So this is a guy who's always working, always thinking, and always trying to perfect his craft.
No doubt about it, and you just laid it out perfectly. Look, it's about collecting information, and you use that, and it's something that you draw upon in certain circumstances. And it's something that I think really sets MINKAH apart, head and shoulders, where I can't see 10 other safeties on Madden being ahead of him. I really don't. I'm surprised by that.
I love that you're bringing up Madden, Wolf. All right, well, MINKAH was out here pretty early at practice today, and also joining him was wide receiver DIONTAE Johnson. He also spoke to the media yesterday about overcoming some of his struggles in 2020 and improving for this season.
Like I said, stick to my catching routine, make sure I'm out here before everybody 30 minutes before, make sure I get all those catches in. So when it comes to practice and I see a ball a certain way, I know how to adjust to it or whatnot. So just by me doing that just gives me the confidence, because like when I see the ball, I know what to do. And it's not like I haven't seen it before, so that's what I've been doing.
DIONTAE, in that kind of offense with so many motions, it's an interchangeable thing with the receivers. You played in the slot a little bit today even. How are you kind of adjusting to that? And what are you seeing from this new offense and really the personnel in the offense?
So it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, just I'm still trying to get used to it or whatnot. The motion, like I said, it's a lot of motions or whatnot. I'm still trying to get it comfortable with. But I see like Coach Kennedy got a good game plan in for us or whatnot. So we just gotta continue to execute, and each play he throwing every day at us, we just gotta know what we're doing each and every day. So we're gonna be fine.
All right, well, if it seems like a refreshed, maybe a refocused DIONTAE Johnson as they get ready for the 2021 season, what have you seen from number 18 so far this training camp?
Well, there's been an obvious commitment to get rid of the dropsies, such as what he was talking about in the past, and lay that behind you. And I think Mike Tomlin really laid out the prescription. Look, 2020 was 2020. It's 2021, and DIONTAE Johnson had more targets than just about anybody, right? And if he simply had squeezed the Charmin and hung onto the ball, he'd be over 100 catches and over 1,000 yards. I think he does that this year, or has an opportunity to get close to it, because he certainly is a guy that's spent the offseason thinking about how I can improve, whether it's by getting this cannonball tennis thing going, you know, and firing the tennis ball at yourself, or it's about getting to the mental gymnastics. I do believe this very, very strongly, Missy. If you talk about the fact that dropsies are a mental thing, and you hear this all the time, then why is it you physically try to adjust all the time? It's got to be a mental adjustment. And that's called getting into the theater of your mind and doing the mental gymnastics necessary to make sure that you go through the mechanics in your mind, because you can get far more repetitions in your brain than you can on the field. Then you go out and apply it and do it physically. But the mental gymnastics part, I think, is so very important, and I think it's underrated to a lot of players of today.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think Coach Tomlin always does a good job at handling that, no matter what the position is, knowing when to bench a guy, when to give them another chance. And even Ben Roethlisberger, especially with wide receivers, we have seen this over the years. He goes back to them if he feels like they're ready to kind of forget about the past and move on. And then sometimes you see where maybe that player doesn't get the ball thrown their way or handed off for the rest of that game.
Exactly so. And we saw an instance where DIONTAE had to spend a little timeout time, which is necessary sometimes. But look, he's rebounded, and he's aggressively gone about the business of physically trying to adjust to whatever was part of the problem. But I hope it's the mental thing that he's paid a very lot of attention to, because it's about getting into the nitty-gritty in your mind, and you can convince your mind with, you know, just going over catchphrases. And I hate to say catchphrases, but that's what it is. Short catchphrases about, you know, tucking the ball, then running. See the ball, tuck the ball, run. You know, I mean, you can just little things that make you conscious of the process of catching the ball, putting the ball away, and then completing the run.
And DIONTAE has shown he does have the potential. He has done it in-game experience and is able to really step up for the Steelers offense. Obviously, we have talked already at length about this wide receiver group they currently have on a 90-man roster. It is deep, and there are a lot of guys, even behind maybe what you would call the quote-unquote starters, that are NFL capable.
Exactly so. I would call them the unsung young guns. And that would be,
I like that.
well, the Tyler Simmons, the Anthony Johnsons, you know, the Rico Bussies.
Yeah.
These are the guys that are making plays out there, and they're doing it on a day-in, day-out basis, whether it's being a gunner, as Tyler Simmons was, or making the one-hander like Rico Bussey. You know, I mean, this is an opportunity for these guys and my University of Buffalo guy, Anthony Johnson,
Right.
to show something come Thursday night. This is their first great opportunity to get out there and show that they're capable with some speed, with some great catches, with some special teams work. But again, yes, you'd like to see the unsung young guns get out and do something.
Yeah, and looking live down here as the wide receivers and some tight ends are warming up together. Ray McLeod doesn't look like he's practicing today, and the same once again for Eric Ebron, who is dealing with that elbow injury. So again, maybe some of those guys on the bottom of the depth chart for wide receiver will get a lot of reps on Thursday.
One man's misfortune is another man's opportunity, to quote the great Mike Tomlin. I would say that if I was one of those guys who was looking at an opportunity, I want to maximize it, and I want to get as many reps as possible. You know, I remember a young Tunch Ilkin when he was and backing up at several positions. He was always going, you know, I think you should come out. You look like you're hurt to, you know, whoever. Yeah, because you want that opportunity. You want to play. That's what it's all about. Why are you here if you don't want to get out and demonstrate you belong in the NFL on the biggest stage in preseason, which is the Hall of Fame game?
Absolutely. And you mentioned Tunch, who obviously we miss dearly and who retired this
yes.
offseason, but congratulations to you.
Wow.
We all knew, but officially announced today, so now we can scream it from the rooftop, moving up to the booth with Bill Hillgrove for the radio broadcast, which kicks off on Thursday. Max Stark's joining us. So
How about that?
I know you like the O-line like to stick together.
You do. You know that the good sense was that the people came along, got another offensive lineman, and Max Starks is a lot bigger than I ever was. Matter of fact, I was thinking with the offensive lineman down, I told Max today, I said, you know, be careful. They might try to put a uniform on you, buddy.
All right, we want to get back to some of your tweets. Let us know what you are thinking in terms of Thursday night, what you will be watching, whether you're joining us in person in Canton or if you will be watching on TV. All right, Haskins and Harris. We've talked a little bit about Najee Harris. In terms of DWAYNE Haskins, what do you think coaches want to see from him, Wolf?
You know, they want to see him run the offense. They want to see him execute the verbiage in the huddle, being able to come out, go through the cadence, make sure people are in their place. They want to see little adjustments he's got to make, like if you saw the goal line when he was running the shovel pass and the linebacker closed on the running back coming across the back. So instead of pitching the ball on the shovel pass, he just tucked it and ran into the end zone. That's where they want to see him use the physical attributes and skills, and also, again, technically do the correct thing. All right, go through your reads, go through your first option, your second option, and the whole progression, and get the job done to the best that you can. He's now surrounded by an organization that's willing to wait, take a look, see what he's got to offer, and I think this is another step towards being able to show the great athletic ability that he's got.
What can you make of, just based on what you've seen here at Heinz Field, from the reps that he's getting, especially on those Ben off days where him and Mason are working a lot with the ones and twos?
Yeah, you know what? You see him increasing his accuracy. You see him increasing his confidence. The biggest thing is for a quarterback, when you have the opportunity to get comfortable with the verbiage, because believe you me, I can come down there and go full eye right, toss 32 trap on 3. You know, I mean, and that was back in the 80s. Now the verbiage is even more ridiculous. It's way out there. So you've got to get comfortable with the terminology and being able to make sure that everybody understands what you need, what you want. Then you're going to have some of the unsung young guns maybe who are going to look at you kind of awkwardly going, I forgot what I do on this. Well, you better make sure that you know that you can be able to tell him what he's got to do on a certain play. And then you execute, however it is, a handoff, whatever, but you make sure that your cadence is sound so the offensive line has the proper get-off. You make sure that your handoffs are proper. You make sure if you have any sort of bootleg action that you're tucking the ball and doing the things that you need to do. Those are all things that you can do, and know that this is just the first step. But it's an interesting first step because, like I said, he seems to be like Sundance Kid of Butch Cassidy and Sundance. I'm better when I move. And when he moves, he seems to do a good job.
I did catch a quick glimpse, of Ben Roethlisberger. It does look like he has the pads on and the shorts, so maybe we'll see a little bit of him today. Knowing that they are going with Mason Rudolph as the starter, is this the practice where you let those guys get more reps?
Yes, no doubt about it. You know, if you're Ben, you're just like, okay, I'll be out there, I'll be on the sidelines, whatever. But these guys need the reps. They're going to prepare them to get the reps. And then these guys are going to go out and perform the reps on Thursday. And so you want to make sure that everybody's comfortable, that there's no last second questions. They've got the script. They've got the plays that they're all very familiar with and comfortable with. And I say comfort a lot, but it's really big. When you're comfortable, when you know the plays so well that you can, quote unquote, breathe the plays, that's what you want, because that's when you're going to get the best play out of yourself.
Take me through the prep for a preseason game. We heard from Coach Tomlin at the beginning of the show saying, we're not going to be complex. We just want to see who can play football. What goes into what the coaches tell the players, in terms of, you still have to call a play, even though Coach said that Bill Cowher's allowed to call one if he's on the sideline on Thursday. What actually is installed, or is it kind of just seeing if guys can really just play football?
Well, it's really going to be very vanilla. It's really all about not trying to out X and O somebody, not trying to fool somebody. What you want to do, because like I said earlier, you're going to line up across from each other, and let's see who's better man. Let's see who's going to be last man standing. That's the opportunity that you want, because you want to show yourself to be approved, in your very basic fundamentals. It's you and me. All right, I'm sitting here, I'm going to come off, and I want to put my forehead right in your chin, and I want to take you off the ball. Well, I say this, yeah, really, then I got to go back to the sidelines. So the thing about it is, the point is you want to match up and create these matchups that you can see and know, all right, if it's against a veteran guy and you got a rookie, okay, the kid looked pretty good. All right, he battled well. He showed himself well. There was no mental errors on a basic script of plays. You're not going to have your full offense in. You've got, half or something, and you just go with that. And you're not worried about all the too much motioning or something like this to offset the defense. You want your basic stuff to line up, and let's see who the slobber knocker is, and let's see who can be taken off the ball, because that's what it's all about.
All right, let's head over to another tweet to see what you, the fans, are looking forward to on Thursday. Oh, Harvin. Presley Harvin III.
How about that? We got a punter. I mean, Gadzooks, we're going to go, the biggest battles in camp is going to be the punters. But Presley Harvin, number 6. By the way, who was it that, Melvin Ingram said, he wanted 6. He wanted 6, but he got 8 because he was 44, and so 4 and 4 equals 8.
Yep.
How about that?
Good math, Wolf.
This from a kid who flunked math twice. How about that? So Presley Harvin, it's got a big opportunity here to show the big leg that he has. He's been ripping the cover off the ball at times in camp here. He's really a very impressive dude, and the fact is, I think he can back up any tackling opportunities that he might have. You hope that he never has to do that, but you know what? The guy he's solid and he's put together, and it'll be interesting to see what this young man can do.
And Coach was saying during his press conference, obviously special teams is something you can judge and also see, who's going to bring it during the preseason type games.
No question. My last preseason game against Dallas, I played, I started in the second quarter, 3 quarters of offense, and I played all 4 special teams in 90-degree plus heat. Let me tell you something. I was exhausted, but it's what was necessary to be able to allow me to prove myself and have that opportunity to take advantage, not just of the offensive line play, but all 4 special teams, punt return, kickoff return. You need to pay rent until you're a starter. You do your best work in paying rent by being on the special teams.
All right, let's get to another fan question to see what they are looking forward to on Thursday. Excited to watch Haskins versus Rudolph. We have talked about that one. Let's see who else. Oh, Pierre and Buddy Johnson.
Wow, that's a lot. Well, first of all, yes, Haskins and Rudolph, no doubt about it. James Pierre is a guy who's really done a nice job of showing himself to be opportunistic, shall we say. You look at James Pierre and you think, by golly, look at him. He's 6'2", he's got some length, he's got speed, he's got all those abilities. Now, the question is, who's he competing against? Because I don't think he's competing against Cam Sutton. I think he's competing against the trio of possibly the nickelback guys, because if the nickel guys can't handle the job, that means Antoine Brooks, Arthur Mollett, or Trey Norwood, then you know what? That means Cam's got to slide back inside. If he has to slide back inside, James Pierre now looks like a guy that is capable of holding, or at least giving indications that he is making a play to prove himself capable of playing on the outside. Now, on the other hand, if those nickelbacks, Antoine Brooks comes off, he's a pretty solid guy and shows he can handle the Mike Hilton-esque type blitzing operation there and still cover well, or Arthur Mollett, then it's a little bit different animal, because Cam Sutton's going to play regardless. Just don't want Cam to have to shift back and forth, because I think for him at this stage of his career, in one place is going to give him the greatest opportunity to become the complete player.
And James Pierre, somebody we've spoken about going back to the 2020 training camp, was able to make a name for himself without any preseason games. Coach already made it known Joe Hayden will not be playing, so that is more increased reps for guys like him. You mentioned Justin Lane. Interested to see if they just kind of keep Cam Sutton out there on the outside and maybe let the inside work itself out as we get through the first preseason.
I would imagine that's the way they want to go about their business, Missy, to give that triumvirate, the three guys there, have every opportunity to show that they're capable. You already know what Cam is capable of if he's on the inside. And for Cam, the growth process is about becoming just a traditional outside NFL lockdown type cornerback. That's what he wants. I'm interested also in Shakur Brown. If he has that opportunity, that's another guy that's maybe flying under the radar a little bit, see what a little NFL action looks like on his 2.9.
Yeah, an undrafted guy who I think they were very high on and made sure came here to Pittsburgh. We talked to Mike Prisuta about the goal line drill yesterday, Wolf. What did you see in terms of the O-line and just the overall play?
Well, at times it was very good, and at times it wasn't so good. It was that sort of mixed smash.
Ebb and flow, if you will.
Yes, I think ebb and flow is a good way to describe it. When, as Mike said, when you can get a varsity caliber running back, as NAJEE Harris is, you get him line of scrimmage and you get him there untouched, good chance he's going to take it into the end zone.
Right.
But when he's running for his life before he even gets to the line of scrimmage, then you've got issues. And we saw those issues, and we saw the one where NAJEE was able to take it in. The offense, again, it's an ebb and flow thing, but understand this. Adrian Clem is an excellent old school offensive line coach. The guy played with demeanor as his buzzword when he came in. Mm-hmm. I remember him playing. I've talked to people that he has coached in other places. Kelvin Beachum, who I have the greatest respect for, can't say enough good things about Adrian Clem. I am fully confident that by the end of the year, this will be more than just a representative offensive line. This is going to be a good line. This is going to be a line that's got the quote-unquote demeanor and desire to be able to reestablish itself as a fist-in-the-face, blow guys off the ball type of offensive line.
And there you see Coach Tomlin walking over to the O-line as we are still in the individual portion of practice. He seems to always have the pulse of what everybody is doing and making his rounds. I would like to know his step count during a practice.
I think one of the biggest bummers of this training camp that I'm up here, which it's always fun to be up here, nice air conditioning, great food, good company of people too. But I love to be on the field just to walk around and be within the earshot as Mike is coaching people up. Like Coach Knoll, Mike Tomlin is capable of coaching all positions. And like Coach Knoll, Mike Tomlin is fully capable of pushing buttons on players. And I love to hear the coaching tips, and I love to hear the button pushing on the players. It's really interesting, and it also makes you a lot more knowledgeable in your broadcasting duties when you listen to Mike Tomlin explain the nuances, say, of footwork on a cover two working on a slant route. Okay, I'd never had that problem, so, but the point is Mike Tomlin is just an excellent coach.
I do apologize. Our last tweet, we started talking about James Pierre, but they also asked about Buddy Johnson. So going to that inside linebacker position, what have you seen from those guys, and what are you looking forward to seeing from Buddy Johnson, Wolf?
I want to see that sideline to sideline, and we're looking at him right now. The guy's he oozes athletic ability. Like his running mate, UG3. Ulysses is a guy that's got terrific vertical speed, all this sort of stuff. Buddy is one of these guys that I think he gets off blocks really well. I think it's really hard to get him and lock onto. He disengages well, he chases well, he's got that inner linebacker eyesight. The one thing Marcus Allen had problems was, when you come from the safety, you have a big view. Well, at linebacker, your view is smaller, more finite. There's a lot of crosstown traffic in the inside there. But for Buddy, it's about right now, he's just got to get out and play. I think he's just going to be one of these guys that he's going to bring a big stick. I got a feeling, just watching him.
A lot of communication there. There you see him working with Jerry. Take us through what they're doing right now during individuals, Wolf.
They're just going through their paces. They're understanding where their positioning is. And then as Jerry O will run the ball, they'll either, if he's showing in the cutoff block, that's what it looks like, then he's just getting them to attack at the appropriate time. What they want to do is, Buddy wants to go after an offensive lineman as he's running sideways. You don't want to have to engage a 350-pound behemoth in a face-on position if you don't have to. If these guys are pulling down the line or cutting off on the backside, hit them while their shoulders are basically turned. And you can see right there, he's talking about hand placement. Hand placement is so big, especially in the NFL today. Back in my day, it was a head-first, crash-first type of operation. It was like bumper cars at Kennywood. Everybody just rev it up and just go ahead and ram into each other. Well, now because of the head trauma they all worry about, now it's about hand placement, being able to punch, keep your head out of it, and being able to intersect at that moment that you need to be able to hold your gap. So they're going over those paces. They're talking about having the hand on the shoulder, being able to control the man that's trying to block you, and being able to do it at an angle.
In terms of Buddy Johnson, that position sometimes called the defensive quarterback, and the communication that needs to go, just knowing him coming out of college, and when the Steelers drafted him, he was a team captain, one of those vocal guys that others rallied around. So also important. We saw Devin Bush just a minute ago. He's down there with the inside linebackers as well. How do you think the Steelers handle him, knowing he's coming off of an injury, missed a number of games, 11 in 2020, but probably also needs some maybe game reps to get ready for the regular season?
There's no question, and I think that they're going to take some time ramping him up, build up to a particular workload, and then back off it, having him ready for the Buffalo game. There's no question in my mind that he looks fully reloaded, like he's built up, but at the same time, you want to make sure that joint, that thing is recovering each and every practice. So if there's soreness or things of that nature that we don't know about, well, we got to make sure that he is talking to the trainers and telling them in a very specific way of what he's experiencing. If it's not painful, just sore, okay, you're on the right track. But if it's painful, then you've got some issues and you got to back off.
All right, perfect timing. We see Devin Bush there and Robert Spillane, and Rob just tweeted me and wants to know, does Robert Spillane have a lock on the starting inside linebacker job alongside Devin Bush?
To quote Mike Tomlin, all positions are open, baby.
Taking the safe route. Come on, Wolf.
I look at Robert Spillane, who I believe is a guy that he doesn't mess around. It's not that he doesn't take things for granted. He is not overlooking his opportunity. He got here because he's tenacious, he's a fighter, he's going to work as hard as he can, and once he's reached the pinnacle, people have to understand, it's not about just making the team. You make the team, and you know what? That's hard enough, but staying on the team is harder still. Getting to be a starter is even harder, and once you're a starter, it's harder to be a starter for a length of time. So the point is, how do you handle success? Well, he handles success very well because he is a student of the game. He applies himself. You see it every day. He goes out there early. He's working on his drops as a linebacker. He's working on catching the ball. He's working on his hand placement as he's coming up to disengage off run blocks. These are all parts of being a student of the game. And I do believe, I don't think anybody's got a lock except for guys like, Ben and some of those people.
Cam's
but
probably safe.
I would say Cam's very safe. But I would think that if I was Robert Spillane, I would be of the mindset, all positions are open, including mine, and he's going to do his very best to make sure he locks it down.
All right, we are winding down to just the final seconds of the individual portion of practice before the Steelers once again in pads for their last practice prior to their first preseason game. Will start in the competition period. There's Juju Smith-Schuster, a little quarterback. Oh, no. Thought he was going to throw the ball for us there, but Wolf, that was the horn. It is Tuesday. It was Tomlin Tuesday. It's also Terrible Towel Tuesday. And of course, Steelers Nation, you know, the last time we were in Canton when Jerome Bettis was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, just the sight of the terrible towels taking over was just breathtaking. Of course, Jerome mentioned it, but you know, fans, we love to see it, sending in their version, their favorite version, the places that the terrible towel travels. Man, Venice, Italy looks pretty good right now.
You know, there's no question about it. I will say the greatest terrible towel shot that I ever saw was my son, Major Kyle Wolfley, when he was over in Afghanistan, boots on the ground, had a terrible towel with a young Afghani boy holding up with them. And I got to tell you something, folks, I was near tears on that one. That one just hit me. That was on the Jumbotron before game. It was awesome.
And that is one that I am hopeful you have in a frame somewhere.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, that is going to do it for Training Camp Live presented by FedEx. Thanks everybody for joining us. We will be back to recap the final practice before the team heads to Canton with our wrap-up show. We'll see you guys then.